Right, guys, our instructor is back. Abdul Rohim, good evening, boss. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening, everyone.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much. I need to.
Yeah, I think I'll now leave it to you to now like educate us a bit now.
All right. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It's very nice to be here. And thanks for the organizers for organizing this um, session as well on open source. As we all know, next month, October is going to be starting next month, and then I'm very sure most of us will want to like contribute to during the Oktoberfest season, either as a developer, writer, or anything. So let me now start. So my name is Ayanwumi Abdulroheem, and I'm a front-end developer. I'm also a technical writer. I also write once in a while, and then I'm a GitHub campus expert. And then I currently study here in Ibadan. You are currently University of Ibadan. So that's a little bit of introduction about myself. I also write once in a while, and then I also do front-end development. So yeah, and then let us now go straight into the topic of today. So before we start, if you are a developer, can you just like probably signify or maybe just drop it in the comment section? If you are if you are a developer or if you are a technical writer, anyone, you can just like just to see the number of technical writers that we have here, or like number of um, developers that we have here tonight. All right, great. So I think I have a slide I'm going to share that I'm going to use as our guide for tonight. So yeah, so yeah, it's me. So can we still see my screen? So, so how to contribute to open source as a technical writer? So writing about code and user experience. So as I've said earlier, my name is Ayanwumi Abdulroheem. I'm a front-end developer, technical writer, and GitHub campus expert. So I think there's this thing that people usually think about, like, okay, when it comes to like contributing to open source, probably it's just for developers alone. Maybe uh, contributing to open source is just for developers. Other people cannot contribute. Maybe like you're a technical writer or like you're a designer or anything. But actually, it's actually for everyone. No matter like the field that you are, you can contribute to open source. Whether you're a designer or like you're a technical writer, you also have like a role to play when it comes to contributing to open source. If you're a designer, you can actually contribute to open source by contributing to, for example, we have all these companies like they have like their design guides and they have like some probably minor issues. So you can actually look into that and then contribute to what's it called, to those design guides, and then that's also like a form of contribution as a designer to open source. So, but today I'm going to be focusing majorly on the technical writing aspect, how you can contribute as a technical writer, and I'm going to be focusing more on like let's say like the engineering part. I think yesterday person that spoke about like I think Web3. So I'm going to be focusing more about the engineering aspect. So let's get into it. So these are the things that I'm going to be talking about tonight. I'm going to be starting like from the scratch, what technical writing is, types of technical writing that we have, benefits, how to become a technical writer, and then how you can actually make some one or two things from technical writing itself, how you can contribute, how you can improve the user experience, and then step by step on how to contribute, and then we round it up from there. So let's get into it. So what is technical writing? So technical writing is just like a practice of documenting processes, procedures, and complex information in a clear, concise, and accessible manner for specific audiences. So technical writing is like a process of like documenting processes or like procedures. So for example, now I'm very sure most of us we have what's it called? We like I can see that we have like lots of developers here. So and then maybe one of us, maybe one time or like the other, we have tried to maybe access like a documentation, maybe like we are trying to build something, then you are using like an SDK or like a package, and then that's like, okay, let me just go to this place, let me check documentation. But when you got to the place, like you're just like very furious, you were unable to even like understand anything, trying to go through the documentation about how to use that thing. So a good technical writing is a way in which you can like document that process about how a user can actually look into that thing, so that you can even break it down for someone that like not that is not even like technical, so that the person will be able to like understand it clear, like very clearly, and then concisely, without even putting like so much effort, like break down like step by step how to go about like a process, and then to make sure like your audience understand what you are trying to explain to them. So that is what technical writing is. So, and then we have like some characteristics of a good technical writing. We have clear and concise communication, user focused content, problem solving orientation, and then structured information architecture. So when you are writing, when you're writing like a piece of an article, or like you are writing like a documentation or anything, you have to make sure like your article or like what you are writing is actually very clear and concise. Like not just okay, this is what I want to talk about. So you like you divert to like a place, then come back. So just make sure that it is very clear and concise. As for me, anytime I want to write anything, I usually like put people in like in my shoes, because I know that when I was also learning how to write code, I that time I didn't used to like read articles like that. I usually use YouTube videos a lot then, but now I read more of articles. So I usually put myself in that kind of shoe that, oh, I don't know anything about this. Let me just try and write this thing as if I'm trying to explain to someone that doesn't even know about this I'm writing. Like this person doesn't know about it at all. So let me put myself in that person's shoe. So I usually try to make sure that I break those things down as easy as possible. So that anyone that comes to this place or that comes to the article to read it, the person will be able to even like, oh, I enjoy this thing and I'm able to grab something from this thing. Not like so anytime you are writing, you have to make sure that everything is clear and then concise. So user focused content. So because if who you are actually writing these things for, they are like the users. So you have to anything you do, you have to make sure that you put the users in mind. You have to make sure that you're actually focusing on the user, how they are going to feel when they are trying to read this thing or to use that piece of documentation that you are writing. So you have to make sure that you are user focused. Yeah, problem solving orientation. You also have to make sure that at the end of your writing or like your article, you are trying to like solve a problem. Not like you are going to write, then go to this place, go to that place, and then come back. Then at the end of the day, at the end of the article, you're actually not trying to like maybe pass any message or solve any problem. So you have to make sure that everything is being done and then you are solving the problem. So you have to make sure that your content is also like structured in a very good architecture. So when you want to like write anything, you have to make sure okay, we have introduction first. Then after you have like the introduction, can do a brief explanation about okay, this thing that I even want to like talk about. What is like the thing? For example, let's say I want to write about okay, how to get started with chakra UI now. So I have to like do like a little bit of introduction, like okay, what is chakra UI itself? Then what are the like benefits of using chakra UI? What are the ways in which I can use it? Like what are the frameworks I can use chakra UI with? Then you can now go to okay, let me go to the installation instructions, like the guides. So you have to make sure that everything is like kind of structured, not that you're just jumping from this place. Then maybe you put conclusion, you put so that kind of thing. You have to make sure that everything is kind of structured in a very an appropriate manner. So, what are the rules of a technical writer? So, a technical writer actually has a lot of rules. So, translate complex technical information into understandable content. So, for example, now I'm a developer. Let's say we are building like an SDK in my company now. So for developers, they have finished building the SDK, they are done with everything, and they have pushed it. They have pushed it. Let's say the backend developer also like kind of using the APIs, and then you are done. Then we want people to use this thing that you people have built now. So how are they going to like use it? You can't just bring like the backend code or like the code for the SDK and then just tell you that you should just like start using it. So it's not possible. So you be the ones like, okay, well, this thing that you have built, how can I like transfer or translate that information into like a technical content that people can read and then understand, so that they will be able to use this thing that you have built. So you are the one that you are going to do that. So that is one of the rules of a technical writer. So create user-centered documentation. I think I explained that earlier. So anything you are doing or anything you are writing, you have to make sure that you keep the user in mind. That, oh, this thing that I'm writing for the users, and they have to make sure that anything I write, I put them in mind so that when they are using it, it is very, very easy for them. So collaborate with developers, designers, and product teams. So that's also one of the roles of what of a technical writer. So when you are writing anything, you have to, okay, the backend guys, are you built this API? What does this thing do? Is it that okay, anytime anyone wants to use this API, they have to like maybe pass one maybe like a key, they have to generate like their API key, they have to pass it with every request or anything. So all those kind of things, you have to like meet them and then collaborate and then let them know so that when you are writing your own documentation, when you are writing what's it called, you have to put like everything there and then make sure that everything is written correctly. So you have to collaborate with the developers, designers, and also what the product teams. Yeah. So you have to maintain and update existing documentation. So sometimes you might actually even just maybe come in as a technical writer, maybe in one company. Might not be the one that actually maybe started that documentation. You are not might not be the one that wrote it from the start, but you just come in that oh, you are now a new technical writer. Wanted to go through this thing and then see if there's anything that you can maintain, or anything that you can change, or anything that we can improve. So that's also one of the functions of a technical writer. Or let's say maybe you even have like maybe probably one documentation. For example, now let's say we have React. There's this space stack package like React space stack. So let's say now, maybe when it was written, the React version then was like let's say React 16. Now I think we are now using React 19 if I'm correct. So now you have to make sure that okay, this now you have built that time when React was still using version 16. Now that we have React 19, I have to make sure that I do what I update this documentation. So that anyone that wants to read now is not going to be having issues. Because if the old documentation is still there and someone just comes to the place now and then they want to do what they want to use it, they will most likely have issues because of the difference in the versions. So you have to make sure that you do what you maintain, you update what the existing documentation. So also ensure consistency in voice and style. So that's also one of the functions of a technical writer. So when you are writing your article, you have to make sure that you maintain consistency in voice and style. I can remember when I also started you doing this technical writing, I joined Akmamba. That was the community that I joined then. And I think my first what they do is they guide you, they help you in your technical writing journey. So if you're a technical writer and you want to like get started, they're going to help you. If you have an article you want to write, after writing it in like let's say like a Dropbox, just send the link to one of the coordinators of the community. They will go through the article and then put comments there. So all the places where you need to make some corrections, they will help you review your article and then leave comments for it. So you just go back, make those changes and like that. So that is what you do. So that time I think I was writing, I didn't maintain like a consistent voice then. Some places I will use I did this one. In some places I'll use and I will do so like the thing was not consistent. So those are one of the things that they actually pointed out to me that you know what, just if you want to use like a past tense or if you want to use this kind of word, just use it throughout. So if you want to use this one to use it throughout, don't mix them together. So that was one of the functions of what of a technical writer. So yeah, let's move on to types of technical writing. So we have different types of technical writing. So there are a lot. So sometimes people think just maybe technical writing is just going to just dev.to and then just write something there, then post. Or some people think it's just only maybe you just going to or you just writing like an API documentation or anything. So but you actually have different types of what of technical writing. So we have API documentation. I'm very sure we are very familiar with this one. The developers amongst us, they are very familiar with this. So API documentation, uh I'm very sure probably most of us we have worked with APIs, and then if you have an API that is not properly documented as a developer, when you want to implement or consume those APIs, you are going to have a lot of issues because you'll be thinking, okay, what do I pass here now? How do I do this? What do these endpoints do? What so it's going to give you a lot of issues. So one of the types of technical writing that we have what API documentation. So we have endpoint description, code examples, and SDKs, authentication guides, error handling documents. So all these things, they are types of what they are under what API documentation, so that anyone that wants to use that API is not going to have like issues when trying to like use that API, since like the documentation is well written and documented. So you don't have, so just go there. This is what have to do, or this is what I want to do. Just go there, get it, and then implement it seamlessly without any issue. So we also have user documentation. So this one includes like getting started guides, tutorials and how-tos, feature explanations, and then troubleshooting guides. So we have getting started. I'm very sure a lot of us we have seen a lot of get how to get started with, or how to do this like as a beginner, all those kind of things. How to, so they are under user documentation. And all these things they are like to break things down, at least like for a beginner, or like you are someone just starting out in maybe like with a new technology, or just trying your hands on something very new. So one of the best ways in which you can like start is by like using all these like getting started guides and all these how-to tutorials. So they are very good to help you get started. So that's one of the types of technical writing that we have. So we also have developer documentation. So this one is majorly focused on the developers. So for example, we have installation instructions, configuration guides, architecture overviews, and then contributing guidelines. For example, now you have something that you want to use a package, and then you have to, for example, you want to like, let's say you want to install like React Native now. So and then before you can install React Native, especially you are using Windows. I don't know if you have any React Native developer here. Do we have? You can signify if you are a React Native developer. So if you're if you're a React Native developer, and probably if you have used Windows before, you know that installing React Native on Windows is actually a lot of work. So it's kind of like very compulsory. I say it's something that is very good to like know how to follow like the instructions. Okay, I have to install Android today if I can do this. So all those kind of things they are under what developer instructions. So we also have technical blog posts. All these ones are very common. Just you are like a developer or someone. I think I know this kind of thing, or maybe I've come across this kind of issue before. I think I want to write about it. That's what I do most of the time for me. So let's say maybe I'm building something now, and then while I was building that thing, when I was trying to like use that technology, I encountered a lot of issues. So what I do is that I just that, you know what, once I'm done with the thing I'm building, all the issues that I came across when I was building, I'm going to write them down and then write on them. So that's what I do most of the time. So you can write technical blog posts, like by can start that by creating like your own account on let's say Medium or Dev.to or some other places. You have lots of places where you can write your blog post, and then just to let people learn, and then like that. So we have feature announcement, technical deep dives, case studies and tutorials, and like that. We also have release notes and change logs. So, for example, now let's say we have React 18 now, and then let's say next week, React is going to let's say release React 19 version 19. So what they do is that they usually like write change logs, or let's say you have been using Chakra UI V2 now, and then Chakra has now has released version 3, and you now want to like migrate from 2 to 3. You have to like read the change logs to see the things that have changed in their API, or like in the what's it called, in their library, so that when you want to use it, you won't be having issues. For example, let's say you use stack component before, and then you usually use like this prop. You usually pass like a spacing prop to it for version 2. Now that you're now in version 3, it has changed from spacing to either space X or space Y. So one of the places where you can see all these changes is under all these change logs, maybe feature updates and different things like that. So that is another type of what of technical writing that we have. So if you are following, you can just like signify and then just let me know, and so that if you have any questions at this point too, you can also let me know. All right. So I'm just going to continue now. Just a second. Yeah, so let's move on to the next thing. So we have benefits of technical writing. So technical writing is actually a very high demand skill. in the industry right now. So, and technical writers actually make a lot of money. So we have competitive salaries, we have remote work opportunities, we have continuous learning and skill development. Of course, if you want to become a technical writer, you must be technical yourself. Or is it possible for you to become a technical writer without even knowing about what you want to write about? So that that urge to write, to teach others like some things, also going to push you to also learn more as well. So that's one of the benefits of being a technical writer. So you'll be someone that you learn constantly, like all the time, because you also want to teach people. So for you to be able to teach people, you also have to like learn yourself. So that's one of the benefits of technical writing. So I think this is for a user or like for a developer, for an individual, and then for companies too. We have reduced support tickets and customer inquiries. So if you have a technical writer in your company now, so instead of people like just opening tickets for you, oh, we have this thing, we have this issue, or like we don't even know how to do this thing. How can we implement this thing? Do you have this kind of API? Do you do this? So if you have a technical writer in your company, it helps you to reduce all these problems because technical writer will have done all this work for you. So you are not going to be having all these like issues all the time. So it improves product adoption and user satisfaction. So it enhances um, developer experience. Of course, if you have a technical writer in your team or like in your company, people really want to like come to your documentation and use it. I'm very sure if the, I'm not kind of discriminating, no, please. So I'm just giving like an example. If you have like anyone here that's used Paystack API and what's it called? Paystack and Flutter with all like their documentation. I'm very sure people will say they prefer Paystack to Flutter with because of private documentation and how like so it's actually kind of very simple and very easy to use when it comes like the developer experience. We compare them using both APIs. So faster onboarding for new team members and then better knowledge retention and transfer. So all these things are some of the benefits of what of a technical um of having like of technical writing. Sorry. So how can we become a technical writer? So it's very easy to become a technical writer. And as I've said, if you want to become a technical writer, you have to be technical yourself. So you can't say you want to become a technical writer and you don't know anything about maybe all this tech, maybe like a technology or hair. So because if you want to write, what are you going to like write about or write on if you also don't know it? So you have to first things you have to build your foundation skills. So you have to develop strong writing and editing abilities. So obviously that's the first thing because you want to write, so you have to have this writing skills, very good one. So, but it's not really compulsory. Like it's not like you should have everything at once. Just start from somewhere. Gradually, you are going to improve as time goes on. So also learn basic programming concepts. So okay, I want to like start writing about JavaScript now. That means I have to learn about JavaScript, like some JavaScript concepts. Once I learn about them, I can also write about. And one thing that people usually like a mistake people make sometimes is that they usually think that maybe because someone has written like an article on a topic before, then they shouldn't write about it again. No, that's not true. Actually, it's not true at all. Because someone has written an article on a topic doesn't mean that you shouldn't write your own. You don't know. Probably it is actually what you have written that people are actually going to like. Maybe the way you are going to put your own, like or the way you are going to break down your own article is what people are going to like. So you never know. So you don't say because someone has seen or maybe people have written a lot about this topic, oh, I'm not going to write it. No, maybe it's that your own small knowledge that you have, or the way you are going to break your own down. That's what is going to really like entice people. In fact, I wrote one article a time, and then, in fact, I'm very surprised about like the outcome right now because I think uh, it's actually something that I think if people have written about this thing before, and maybe I don't even have like much knowledge about this thing. So because the reason why I wrote that article was because I encountered an issue when I was working with React. I was like, let me just write about it, and I wrote about it. In fact, what I wrote about, React Native already wrote about it itself, and some other big companies. But like now, if I try to just say, like, let me just go to Google and let me search for how to install React Native or Windows. I think my article should be maybe like top three or something. And I never even expected it. My own was just like, let me just write this thing because of So yeah, this is my own article that I wrote here. And the reason why I just wrote it was because of like the problem that I had then. So and then it just came out that this is even like one of my best like articles that I've written. Last that's lots of engagements and lots of other things like that. So you can always like just write about anything. Just learn. Once you learn, okay, I learned about this concept today. Okay, let me now write about it. So we also have to like understand the software development life cycle, practice with markup languages like Markdown. Because basically, if you want to write an article, if you go to dev.to now, or you go to Medium, like all those places where you can write your blog posts, the way they write them is in form of like Markdown. So that's the way they write. So you have to also learn how to use Markdown very well because that's what you're going to be using to write your blog post. So you have to learn how to use Markdown. So that's the way you can build your foundational skill, your foundation skills. So the second one is you have to create a portfolio. So after you have learned all these things now, all you have to do is okay, let me now start writing all these things out. Okay, let me write this article today, write down one tomorrow, and then just continue like that. And then as you're writing them, you can now like build like a portfolio of your article. You can create like a portfolio for yourself and then list all your articles there. Sometimes some people say that the reason I'm writing this article is because I want to like maybe get a technical writing job. So if you want to do that now, even if you want to apply for a job, they're going to okay, let us see your portfolio, let us see like the samples of the works that you have done, your writing, your samples of like articles that you have written. So create a portfolio. Can also contribute to open source as well. Contribute to open source projects. So by contributing to open source projects as well, you're also building your portfolio. Imagine you saying that, oh, I I improved maybe one big company. Let's maybe like Stripe. You help them improve their technical documentation or like their so it's actually going to be like uh, a big thing on your CV. So by contributing to open source, it's really going to help because you're also going to work with like senior technical writers and they're going to really help you to develop your skills. So you can also start a technical blog and then you can also document your personal project. So those are the ways in which you can do it. You can document your or you can create your portfolio. So you can also gain technical knowledge. You can because if you want to like write, you can say, okay, as for me, I want to write, but I want to just focus on let's say just only web, or I want to focus on just mobile alone. So you have to like choose like a field. Okay, this is what I'm going to. Some they write just only about DevOps. They don't do anything aside DevOps. That's what they write on. Some they only write about PHP. If anything you want to learn about PHP, just go to their blog. You see there. So some is just like animations. So you have to like choose about okay, what do I really want to like write about? So choose that field, then gain the knowledge in that field, and then learn the relevant tools. So, so those are the ways in which one can become technical writer. So, and then how can we make money from technical writing? So, there are different ways. As I've said, technical writers actually make a lot of money. So, there are different ways in which you can make money as a technical writer. It could be like from full-time employment, freelancing, and then content creation. In fact, I know a lot of people that they actually write as a freelance, like they do it as freelancing and they make their money. And there are even lots of companies that they even want to like write for them. They say just write for us. We are going to be paying you maybe $300 per article or $400 per article. So it's like something like can really like do say something like it's very fun and you love doing it. You can just do it and then just make money from it. So those are the ways in which you can actually make money from technical writing. You can also take it like as a full-time job. Yeah, so that's another way to also make money from technical writing. I think I have this link that I would love to share with us that we can. So it's anyone that wants to write and you love writing and you are looking for maybe where you can get, so you can just check out this repository. So they have links to a lot of companies that they want you to write for them and and you are going to get paid. So that is the link to that repository. So you can just check it out. You see list of those companies there and like the field that they focus on and like the amounts they're going to pay you per article. Okay, for these ones, you want to like write tutorials on just maybe JavaScript or just React or just this thing. And then per article, we pay you this, and that. So these are some of the ways in which you can also make money as a technical writer. So let's move on. So essential technical writing resources. So I knew that some will say that okay, I want to start a technical writer, but I don't know the resources that I can use, or how can I even become a technical writer, or like what are the ways or what are the paths that I can take to become a technical writer. So you can use like learning resources, they are out there. You can so we have books, you can read this book, we have online courses, we have blogs, we have newsletters, and we have different courses. I think I've tried this before. Google has this technical writing course that you can do for free. And when you are done, they are going to give you a certificate. So they are really going to teach you like from the basics how to become a technical writer, how you can like they're going like step by step. It's like in different modules. When you are done with the first module, you move on to the second one and then to the third one. So it's very easy. And even before you even finish this thing, you'll have become like a very good technical writer yourselves because they'll teach you like different things about technical writing, how you can write blog posts, how you can write API documentation, how you can write different things. So this course is going to teach you all that and it is free. So you can always just go there anytime and then follow your progress. And when you are done, they're also going to give you a certificate. So let me also share this link with us as well. So those are the ways in which we can also become a, so if you have anything you want to ask, you can always just drop in the comment section or so when I'm done, I'm going to check everything. So you can also join communities too. So we have different communities that are focused on technical writing. So you can join those communities and then they are really going to help. I think one of them that I mentioned was I am ARC member community. So if you join ARC member community, it's a very good community that focuses majorly on just like technical writing. So that's what they do. You can join that community. Then once you join ARC member community, introduce yourself. They even have this challenge that they do. I think it's like a bi-weekly challenge. So you can join it. You are going to write, and then once you write, they pick the best one, like one of the best articles. They go through all those what is it called. So you are going to submit like your article. Once they check it and say, this thing is very good, then they publish it on their website. So people can see, this thing is this, but they publish on their website, I think on their dev.to and some other what is it called, social media handles like that. So they publish it there. And then isn't one of the benefits of joining communities because you are also going to be able to you are going to get mentorship because there are lots of like senior technical writers there. So when you write any of your articles, they're going to guide you that when you're writing an article, you're not supposed to put this one here. So change this thing. So anytime you submit any article, they will go through it for you and then help you make changes. So that way you're also improving yourself as a technical writer. So those are the ways in which one can become a very good tech writer and then some resources that you can use. So for the ARC member community, I'm also going to share the link with us, like the link to the Discord server. I will share it with us once we are done with this session. So let's move on. So introduction to open source itself, because our topic for today is actually how to contribute to open source as a technical writer. So writing about code and user experience. So what is now open source itself? I'm very sure most of us here will have heard about open source before. So open source is just software with source code that anyone can inspect, modify, and enhance. So that's just what it is. So I have a code now, or I have like the project I'm working on, and then I think, okay, I think I will need hands, or I will need people to help me, like to join hands with me to help me work on it, like improve it, and like that. So imagine you just working on like a project, or like 5 people working on a project, and then compared to you making it open source where millions of developers can see it and also contribute to it. So it's going to really make it very fast, make your work very fast, and also make it like a very good one. Go and check it. One of the best, what is it called, that we have in this ecosystem. They are usually, most of them are like open source projects because we really have like very good developers. So imagine those people now contributing to your project. So that's one of the beauty of open source. So that's just what open source is. So you have a project working on, they're making it free and open to people to contribute to it. So why contribute to open source? So there are different reasons why people contribute to open source. So to build your portfolio and gain experience, to network with other professionals, to give back to the community, to learn from experienced developers and writers, and then to also enhance your resume and then career prospects. So in fact, this there are lots of reasons why people contribute to open source. So some contribute because okay, I want you to show my CV that oh, I've contributed to this also thing. Imagine you saying that oh, uh, I contributed to React or during October 1st, and then I was able to fix this issue. Or I was able to like add this feature. You know, it's actually like a big feat for you, and it's going to really stand out on your CV that oh, this is very popular library that we know that is React. So you contributed to it, and then it's really going to like attract a lot of recruiters, and then it's really going to give like a lot of what's it called advantage when it comes to like applying to jobs, and then even you might even get that's one of the beauty of like open source. So while you're contributing to open source, if the maintainer see that oh, this person is very good, and then the person has been contributing very well, they can say, you know what, can you just join us? Let us just like hire you as a full-time developer. So that's one of the reasons why people do what they can. And people just contribute to open source just for the like the love that they have for the community, just to give back to the community. So that's one of the reasons why some people really contribute to open source. That, you know, I don't even need the money. I just want to give back to the community. So that's one of the reasons why people contribute to open source sometimes. So some also learn from senior developers, because when you are contributing to open source, you are going to see a lot of people that are more experienced and they know more than you. So by contributing to open source, you'll be able to learn from them and then learn a lot of things. And that way you're also improving yourself too. So documentation challenges that we have in open source. So we have limited time and resources. Technical contributors may lack writing skills, inconsistent documentation quality, and then user experience often overlooked. So limited time and resources. As we know that when we say something is open source, it's like you are just doing something for like the communities. Like no, it's not you are getting paid. So we know that something that doesn't involve like money or something. So people don't really put like much energy into it. So that's one of the reasons why that's one of the documentation challenges that we have in open source. So there's no real time and there are no resources that there are no resources for it. So in that way, if you look at some open source projects, so their documentation are not really good sometimes, most of the time. So, and this is one of the reasons why we are actually having this. So that okay, Mail, I'm going to maybe next month when we start October 1st, I'm going to pick one open source project and then work on it, and then so like that. So technical contributors too, they may lack writing skills. So for example, now you actually have like lots of developers, but not all developers are actually technical writers. Some they know how to write that code, but they don't know how to write or like document the process that they used when they were trying to like build that thing. So that's one of the issues that we have. So in that way, most of like those open source projects, they are not well documented most of the time, because developers that build those things, they don't really have like much writing skills. So inconsistent documentation quality and also user experience often overlooked. And as we have mentioned earlier, that anytime you're writing anything, you have to make sure that you put your users in mind, because they are the ones that are really going to use that thing that you have built. So when it comes to like open source, so it's actually most of the time overlooked. So those are the problems that we have when it comes to open source in terms of documentation. So how to contribute to open source as a technical writer? So there are different ways in which you can contribute to open source as a technical writer. So you can improve existing documentation, you can create new documentation, and you can also improve what the user experience. So we have existing documentation. For example, now let's say you have a very popular package or a very popular library that you use a lot and you really love it, but you think that I've been using this thing, but their documentation is not very good. So what can you do as a technical writer? You can actually just go there and then help them improve it. So that's one of the ways in which you can do what you can contribute as a technical writer. And it's not like about writing codes all the time. It might just be just fixing typographical error, maybe just clarifying maybe some things, or just even maybe just improving like the structure or like the structure of the content analog, some other things. Maybe even probably just making it like a giving like a support like different languages. You know, like this package is now not being used by maybe like people that speak English alone. So probably it is just only in English. You can add that support for it to support like different languages, so that people that also want to use it, even if they don't speak English, they can still use their own language and then understand what the documentation is saying. So those are different ways in which you can do what you can contribute as a technical writer. So you can also create like new documentation for it. You can create a new documentation for like anything and contribute to it as a technical writer. Remember that was the time that I heard about this thing. What is it called? I think during one Oktoberfest. So you all know that there's this thing that we call WebSocket that we use when we want to like send like real-time information, like people use it for like messaging. So he said there's this new thing that is called Novo, so that you can also use that same thing too for real-time communication. Like, okay, I think it's very nice. Let me check it out. But when I checked it out, the documentation was not very like explicit like that. So and because it was like a new, what is it called? So like a new library, like a new solution. So I was unable to even find like articles about it online. So you can also come into the picture that way, like this thing I think I love and it's very good product. Let me just write something for it and then just contribute to it as a technical writer like that. So you can also improve user experience, like user journey mapping, information architecture reviews, accessibility improvements, multi-language support. So you can do different things, and when it comes to like contributing to open source as a technical writer. So these are the ways in which you can do what you can contribute to open source. So finding open source projects. So there are different ways in which you can find open source projects. So we have talked about what open source is, what technical writing is, how you can contribute to open source, a technical writer. So where can you now find all those open source projects? So we all know that when it comes to open source, should I say like the king, it's like GitHub. So anything you want to do when it comes to open source, it's just like GitHub. So you can find them on GitHub, you can find it on GitLab, and anyone can actually contribute. So it's not compulsory like you have been contributing to open source before you can contribute. You can even be like a first timer. So there's always a room for everyone to contribute. So you can just go to GitHub, then just search for like good first issue or documentation labels. Just those are where. So for example, now if I want to contribute to open source now, I can just like see that okay, I want to contribute to open source. Okay, what kind of project do I want to contribute to? Okay, I think me, I want to contribute to like React, or I want to contribute to Next.js, so I want to contribute to like maybe one package. To just pick that particular project I want to work on, go through it, and then check their documentation, check how to contribute guide or like the contributing guide, check it out, and then from there, just get started. So you can just go to GitHub too, and then just search for good first issue or documentation labels on GitHub. So you can also go to GitLab as well, and you can also go to first timers only or up for grabs. So those are places where you can find what's it called, open source projects that you can use. So let us check one out. Let's check. So you can check first timers only. So can go through it and then see different. So once you go through it, so you are going to have like more information about how to contribute to open source as a first timer. So you can also go to up for grabs and different things like that. So from there, you can now proceed to GitHub and then check out this, and then search for this and also documentation label. So you can also from there you can now go ahead and then start contributing to any project that you want to contribute to as a technical writer. So how do you evaluate projects? So you can evaluate a project by the active community and maintenance, clear contribution guidelines, welcome to new contributors, documentation that needs improvement, and technologies you are interested in learning. So, for example, now if you want to contribute to a project now, and then you just check that project, and then maybe just only one person is maintaining it, or like the project doesn't even have like a very active community behind it, might not want to really contribute. So these are the ways in which you can evaluate like a pillar. Is this project actually worth contributing to? Because you may not even want to like, you won't want to contribute to a project that even after contributing to that project, your contributions won't be matched, or maybe it's not be shown. So you want to contribute to a prayer that okay, when you finish contributing to it, all the things that you contributed to it are going to be matched, and then you can even point it, you can point to that, you can even add them to your CV that oh, I contributed to this thing, this is it on my CV. So these are one of the things that we can use to check that oh, is this thing actually worth contributing? So you can check the active community and also the maintainers, people that are maintaining that particular project. So clear contribution guidelines. That's another thing that I can also use like as a checklist to check like a project. Is this thing can I really contribute to it? So normally if you have like any open source projects, they usually have this contributing.md, like that markdown file. So in that file, you're going to see the list of like how you can contribute to that project. So if you see that okay, I think I'm really interested in this project, but it doesn't have maybe a contributing file, like how you can contribute to that project, you might not be really like be interested because it's really going to like give you a lot of issues because you don't even know you are going to contribute that way. So that also another like checklist that you can use. And we also have welcoming to new contributors. So that project will also be like kind of prayer that newcomers can also contribute to. So let's say I'm like a first time and I want to contribute to open source as a technical writer, and I don't really know anything about it before. And I say, look, I think I'm interested in this project. Let me try and contribute to it. But that project is not really welcoming to. It doesn't really welcome new contributors. So I might actually be discouraged that I don't want to contribute to this thing because it's like too big or it's like too ambiguous for me, and it's not really friendly to newcomers or like new contributors. So that's also another thing that you can also look out for. So you can also check documentation that needs improvement. I'm very sure we all use a lot of SDKs, APIs, different packages, and we also know that oh, this thing that I'm using here, it has this issue here that it's not very correct. For example, now I'm a GitHub Campus expert, and then we have like our own kind of repository that we use for like different things. For example, if you just become a GitHub Campus expert, there is like a repository for you for that, and then it contains a lot of details on how you can do something or another thing. So if you want to like open an issue as a campus expert, you have like a separate one for that one. I don't see the details in that repository. So most sometimes we usually have like some campus expert, they usually report to our what's it called, our coordinator that I just check our documentation here and these are the issues that I found there and I want to like fix it. I've already raised like a PR, so help me check it out. That's also another way in which you can do it. You can contribute. So by improving like an existing documentation that I know that this thing actually has an issue here. So let me just contribute to it by fixing all those issues that I've actually probably encountered when I was using it. So, and last one is technologies that you are interested in. So, for example, now I work majorly with JavaScript. So, obviously, if I want to contribute to anything, it's most likely going to be like a JavaScript project. I don't write Go, I don't write what other language is that, I don't write Python. So, if I want to contribute, it's most likely going to be what a JavaScript based project. So, that's another thing. Now you can evaluate what the projects that you want to contribute to. So we have popular projects within documentation. So we have developer tools and frameworks. I'm very sure developers amongst us are going to know about this. So we also have API and SDK projects, DevOps and infrastructure tools, and we have data science and ML library. So these are different things that you can contribute to, and they are not limited to these ones. We still have like other ones that you can actually contribute to. So those are the ways in which you can find open source project and then determine the one that you want to contribute to. So let's move on to the next thing. So step-by-step guide to what to contributing to open source as a technical writer. So the first thing is you have to like choose your project. So you have to research in your like area of interest. Okay, I think I'm really interested in maybe DevOps, or I'm interested in ML, or like there's this model that people really use a lot, but it has this issue. I think I can remember that there's this like past few weeks, I worked on the project and then we are using like one model. The name of that model is called Mistral AI. So we are using that model to be like an AI chatbot, but that model actually has a problem. So the problem is that it doesn't format the text that it returns. It doesn't format them very well, and it's like actually a very big issue. Like when you are displaying like the text that it returns now, you display it in form of like markdown. But the way it returns its own is just like it's kind of very weird. So like we had to do like manual formatting ourselves, like kind of targeting the text that this thing returns and then try to now format it ourselves. So it's actually a very big issue. So like that now, you think that, oh, I think I'm someone that I'm really interested in machine learning. I think this Mistral I have been using, and I think it has this issue. You can also check it out. I'm going to contribute to this thing and then fix this issue. So check the project contribution guidelines, look for issues, label, documentation, or good first issue. Then join the project community channels, maybe Slack, Discord, or any other one that they use, so that you'll be able to follow like up to date, be up to date about anything that you want to do about. So just join the project community. So from there, after you have found like a very good project that you want to contribute to, so the next thing is that you are even going to see this one in the what's it called in the contributing guide. So you have to fork the repository, create a copy of that on your own, and what's it called on your account. Then from there you clone it to your own local system. Then you install the necessary dependency that you need to install. From there, you can now start contributing. So you already know that okay, I want to contribute to this particular thing, and this is the problem that I want to solve. Then you just go ahead and do what? Solve that problem. But at first, you also have to like familiarize yourself with the code base because you're not the one that wrote it in the first place. You have to sit down, look at it. Once you understand how it works and everything, then now start to do what to fix the issue. Then the third thing is understand the current state. So before you started contributing to um, a project, you know the way it was before. Then you know the improvements that you want to make. And then after you have done that, you know how it's going to look like. So you read through what the existing documentation, to identify the gaps, the inconsistencies, or areas of improvement. Then from there, you check open issues and pull requests related to documentation. Then you understand what the target audience and their needs. So sometimes, so when you want to contribute to like a project, there are usually like some issues. For example, now if you go to GitHub and you just search for like the React on GitHub, you see that React has a lot of issues that people have already opened. Like people have already same thing Next.js too. If you check Next.js on GitHub too, like you see that it has lots of open issues. So you can just like start from that place and that, oh, you know what? Let me just start from these open issues before. Don't let me even open like my own. Let me check all these ones that have been opened before, and let me see the ones that I think I'm really interested in and I want to fix. So you can also start from there too, and then just pick it one after the other. Then you fix those issues. Then you create your own PR. It gets reviewed, and then once everything is done, gets matched, and you're good to go. So let's move on to the next thing. So are we still following me? If we are, you can just like kind of signify. All right, thanks. So this is like the continuation of all we're discussing at time. So next thing you have to like plan your contribution. I think I made a mistake here. So you have to plan your contribution, can create like an issue to discuss your proposed changes, get feedback from maintenance and before starting. So you break large contributions into smaller manageable pieces, then you create what an outline or content. So before you even contribute, like know what you want to contribute, like know the changes that you want to make. So and then you can also like discuss with the maintainers that hey, this is what I want to do. Is this something that you people are really interested in, or how do I go about it? Or this is what I want to do. And then they can even give you like more insights or like give you like some help on how to go about it. Then from there, probably what you want to fix is something like a big feature. So you have to break it down into like chunks so that you don't get overwhelmed. So you break it down and then you just do it bit by bit. So when you are now done with what you want to do, you have to like test too. So you have to write the code or anything you want to do, or you want to like help them improve their documentation. After you have done that, you also have to test from your end that oh, this is what this thing is now looking like now. So let me test it from my own end. Let me see the way it looks like. Okay, it's now better than the way it was before. So you write, you test locally, ensure proper formatting. Now we are talking about technical writing. So definitely you have to make sure that everything is being formatted properly in a markdown. So because you use markdown, so you test, you do different things, then you do what? Submit your contribution, you open the pull request for it. So yeah, I think that you can do. So you create a pull request with a clear description, you reference any related issues, responsive to feedback and reviews, and then iterate based on maintainer suggestions. So these are the ways in which you can do what you can contribute to step-by-step guide on how to contribute to open source as a technical writer. That's an issue of mine. So best practices for open source contributions. So we have communication, we have quality standards, and then we have persistence. So you want to contribute to open source now, you have to make sure that you have a very strong communication skill so that when the maintainers are reaching out to you that, oh, what's going on or what are you trying to achieve here or what is this one, you have to make sure that you're actually actively communicating with them. So I don't be like, oh, this guy opened this issue or this person created this PR without a very clear description, and then since they didn't hear anything from you, they just close that issue. Let's just close it. This person is not really responding to us. So you have to make sure that you communicate effectively with the maintainers, and then you also provide context for anything you do. So if you want to fix an issue now, provide like examples or like the use different use cases that, oh, this is what this thing does, or so like that. So and also make sure that you communicate with them effectively. So quality standards, make sure that you do what you follow the quality standards of each project. So, for example, now if you want to contribute to what's it called, maybe Chakra you right now, the way their own contributing guide is going to be might be different from the way React is going to be, or from next year. So you have to make sure that you follow what each standard for each project, the way it has been set when you want to contribute to any project as a technical writer. So just follow their rules, like their guide and their standards when you want to contribute to any of them. So also have what you also have persistence. So start with small contributions to build trust. Be patient with review process, learn from feedback and apply it to future contribution, and then stay engaged with the community. So these are the different ways that like the best practices when it comes to contributing to open source as a technical writer. So there are actually lots of communities for technical writer, as I mentioned, because I'm going to be using Agmamba as like a reference because I'm a part of that community and I know what they do. They really do a lot of work. In fact, they even organize hackathons sometimes. They partner with like some companies. So you as a technical writer, they want you to like build something with maybe those companies that they have partnered with. And after you're now done with those things, then you now build, you're going to write like about that thing that you have built. So for example, now let's say you want to like partner with Cloudinary. So you are going to build maybe just one small application using Cloudinary. Then when you're now done, and now going to like write about how you built that thing as a technical writer. I think one of the persons that I know once participated in that kind of hackathon, and the person came third, and then they give them money and different things like that. The person even gave money and so on. So it's a very good thing, and also like form of encouragement for you to also um, do better as a technical writer. So and then from open source too, there are lots of opportunities in which you can get by contributing as a technical writer when it comes to open source as well. So yeah, so we have come to the conclusion, and then one thing goes up to like know is that being every expert was once a beginner. So you have to like start small, be consistent, and then focus on like adding values to the communities you join. And then that way, that's how I just going to like continue growing. So when I also started writing as a technical writer too, I think I have this person that used to help me review my article. Her name is Abdulroheem by that. I also have one person too, one of GG Badon's co-lead. So those people are the ones that usually help me review my articles before I now later joined at Mamba. So anytime I write anything, I'll just send it to them. Oh, help me review this thing. I can remember my first article was I think how to I think I was just interested in Firebase that time. Like, you know what? I just want to write about Firebase. So now I wanted to write about the article. Because I had to break it down into three different series. So it has like part one, part two, and part three. But when I actually wrote it the first time, I just joined everything together. So when I sent them, they were like, "Hey, who is going to read this thing? Everything? It's too long. How you said that you want to write? What is it called? This thing." Now told me that what is going to happen is either you shorten it, like you remove some parts, or this thing that you have written, you break it down into like three different parts, like series. So because this one that I have written is just too long. So they were not that give me that advice, and then I said, let me just break this thing down into series. So that was what I did then, and then they helped me to review the thing that add some code block here, put this one here. So the way to grow. And then the subsequent ones that I wrote, I think it was Akumamba that actually helped me to review my article and then give me feedbacks. Anywhere they see any issue, you just help me put the comments there. Just like you are reviewing like a code on GitHub. So that's the way they used to help me review my articles there. And then it's just like that way you're also going to continue improving. Also, contributing to open source is also a very good way to improve yourself as a technical writer, because if I want to contribute to like a project now as a technical writer, I'm going to work with people that are very much experienced than I am in that project, like they are software engineers, they are technical writers, and like that. In that way, I'm also going to improve myself. And then there are lots of benefits that come with it. So I think at this point, I'm just going to stop here. So if we have any question that we want to ask or anything that we think we need, we can now ask questions now. Thank you so much. Yeah, you can ask your question. You can unmute yourself. And someone raised it.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much for the class today. It was quite enlightening. So I have a question. So when you started initially, um, I wanted to ask a question. If non-developers, that's people that don't write codes or don't have any idea on how to write codes, can also be technical writers. Are you following?
Yeah.
So I had a question in mind, but in the course of your presentation, when you were presenting on types of technical writing, you discussed on user documentation. That's a type of technical writing whereby you can write on how to get started, tutorials and how to's, feature expansion and the rest. So I thought to myself, okay, that means there could be a type of technical writing that can still be performed by a non-developer, which is, in my own understanding now, the user documentation type of technical writing. But then again, in the course of a presentation, after that time, you now mentioned that um, you cannot be a technical writer if you're not technical. Yes, so it now got me confused. Does that mean that, now thinking back to my first question, does that mean that as a non-developer, you can't function fully or maximally as a technical writer? That's my question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So when it comes to technical writing, so as I've said, I said if you are not like kind of technical, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to become a technical writer, because all you are trying to explain something technical to, let me say, developers or people that are not even technical. So and then for you to be able to understand that thing, that means you are like kind of a technical person. So you can't just bring someone that doesn't know about DevOps now and say, I should say that person should come and write about like an article on DevOps. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for that person to be able to even understand that thing self before you can say, okay, because you are trying to like um take like a concept, understand it first, then now break it down to people for them to be able to understand better or like make it very easy for them to use. So it's usually a little bit difficult to become a technical writer if you are not like someone technical, if you are not a developer. So there are other different types of writing that you can do, but not technical writing. There are also types of like writing. So okay, I say okay, I'm a content writer, I'm a this one, I'm that one. So we also have other types of writing, but not technical writing. Like someone can do that. The person is not like a technical writer. But when it comes to like technical writing, most of the time you have to be like someone technical or like a developer before you can do it. Let me give like another example. We usually have this I usually call like developer advocate. They usually have something in some companies, they will call them developer advocate. Before you can become a developer advocate, you are a developer yourself. Because what you are trying to do is that you are trying to like sell a product to developers. So you are trying to like explain like a product to developers. So if you are not a developer yourself, you don't know how to code, it's going to be very easy for you to do that kind of thing. So those kind of people are the people that normally see that they will like kind of pitch, okay, we have this kind of API, they build tutorials, they build different kind of things like that, and then teach developers how to use like a product or some other thing. So if they don't know that thing themselves, it's going to be very easy for them to say that they want to even teach someone. So that's just like an example of how technical writing is as well. So you have to make sure like you also, and you can just like start from scratch. It's not compulsory like you know the whole of JavaScript or you know the whole of React before you can start writing. So that maybe okay, today I learned about loops in JavaScript. You can just like write about loops and then just put like maybe a short tutorial on how to use loops, like different use cases, and then put it there and then just publish it. In fact, you will even be surprised if like maybe the kind of views, number of views are going to have or the number of engagement. So it just depends on like how you're able to like break it down and how people are able to like understand what you are explaining to them. So yeah, like that's it. I don't know if I've answered the question.
Yes, sir, you've answered my question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So any other question can also come in. Yeah, do you have any other question? So if there are no questions, I think I'm just going to round it up here and then call it a day. So all the things that I used on this that I've used in this session, so maybe the links or any other thing, I'm also going to send it to the community, like to the chat, so that we can all check it out. And I think the Arc member community link as well. I'm also going to send it to the group so that we can all check it out and then yeah. So thank
Sorry, sir, please, and also your PDF as well. This material you use in making presentation, you can also
oh
share it. It will be great. Thank you.
okay. Okay, I'll do that once we are done. Once we are done. Cool. That's all. Thank you.
Can you
You
hear
can
me,
also
please?
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you can ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So my question is, how do you typically approach a technical writing project, right? So say um you've been contracted by clients to write. Yes. So I'm asking, how do you typically approach a project? Say you've been contracted by clients to work on a freelance writing project, right? What are the initial steps you usually take before you start the actual writing?
Okay, thank you. So when it comes to writing, so usually if let's say let's say you have been given like a contract now to work with maybe like a company or like an organization as a technical writer. So most of the time, those people usually have like a topic in mind that they want to write about. So they usually have like their own like topic. Okay, if I'm trying to remember something. So let's say like Netlify wants to like just like I am now as a maybe contract technical writer. So most of the time they want to like write about like their product or like how can you deploy with Netlify? How can you do this, do that? So most of the time they usually have like a topic in mind. So they will just okay, we have hired you now. These are the topics that we want to write about, and then you just like start writing about those things. So once they have given you the topics, you write about it, and when you are done, you send those samples to them. So they are going to review it. So after reviewing, if everything is good and everything is good to go, then they publish those articles. So that's one way. Another one is that they might not even have like any topic. You can just like send the topics to you can just like send different topics to them. Okay, I have one topic on React, I have one topics on maybe what is it called on Docker, I have this one on this one. So you can have like different topics, then just send your topics to them. And they'll just pick like, okay, I think we are going to love this one. We are really interested in this topic. So they just pick one themselves. And then once they pick a topic, you just go ahead and then write on that thing. And when you are done, you send it to them, they review, and after reviewing, they get back to you. And that's like basically the way it works. I don't know if I've answered your questions. Hello? Okay. When it comes to like writing too, I think I usually use what is it called? You can use dev.to to write like your draft uh content, like your articles, or you can use Dropbox paper. So you can use Dropbox paper to write your article. So it's very good. It also works like in form of like Markdown. So just write your article here. Once you are done with your article, you can just send the link to anyone. So once you send the link to them, they can access it. Just make sure that you give like the person like a permission. So once they access that your paper and they're able to like read the article, then they can comment on it and then do anything. So same thing for what I just mentioned. So like let's say you have a contract and you want to write for someone, you can also use Dropbox paper as well. Just write your article there, send it to them, they review it. Once everything is okay, then they publish it for you. And then yeah, you get paid. That's just the way it works. So does anyone have any question again?
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Well, thank you for the question. Please, what's the name of the last website or app you mentioned?
The last what?
The last website you mentioned after Dropbox.
Dropbox. It's Dropbox paper.
No, after Dropbox, you mentioned another one.
Uh is it dev.to?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it's just very similar to like Medium, but people really use it like these days, even like more than Medium. So you can just come to this place and then create an account, then start writing. So if you want to create a post, it also works in form of like Markdown. So Markdown is just like very important when you want to write anything. So you must learn how to like use Markdown. But it's not compulsory you know everything about Markdown. So you can learn as you go. So the name is dev.to. Let me send it to the chat. So dev.to. So you can create an account and then start writing your articles there. Yeah. So any other question?
Yes, please. I've got a question. Good evening.
So yeah, good evening.
Yep. So, my question is, how do you typically approach a technical writing project? So, say you've been approached by someone for a freelance, say, user documentation project, right? What are the initial processes? What are those things you usually do first before you start the process of actual writing?
Okay, I think I answered that question the last time, but I'll just go over it again. So when like you have just been contacted by someone now, like help me write this thing. So or like a company. So most of the times they usually have like a topic in mind, like what they want you to write about. So you can just like make your research about that topic. Then once you are done, then you write your article, you send to them, they review it, and once everything is okay, you publish. Or that's like just one way. Another way is that you submit topics to them. So you can submit like different topics, you can submit different topics on like React or different topics on like Docker or different things. So once you submit those topics to them, they are going to check all those topics and they pick one. So once they pick one, then they'll get back to you that, oh, you have picked this topic, so you can now start writing on this topic. So then from there, you can now start writing. And then once you write and you are done with what's it called, then you send it back to them, they review it. So once they review and then everything is okay, if they have any correction, they'll get back to you, make those corrections or any other thing. So once you're now done with the whole thing, you have made your correction and everything is now good to go, then they publish. But most of the time, what usually like take a little bit of time is like the topic, what you really want to like write about. So that is what it is all about. But most of the time, those companies too, they usually like put it out. Like okay, I think we can even search for rights for us on Google. It should
Okay,
show you.
say in this case, right? In this
Okay,
case, it's a software company. They have their own product. So
yes.
they just completed their product, right, and are
Okay.
already beginning to market. So they need some documentation available and all of that. So how do you approach that?
Okay, in that case, that one is not really difficult since you already know what they want to write about. So, since they have like a product they want to write about and they want to you to help them write like a documentation. So, the first thing is that you have to also understand that thing that they want to market. So, you have to understand it, go through like the what's it called, work together with the developers, and then understand everything, how that product works, how the API works, and everything. Then from there, that's what's going to like help you to write a proper documentation about that product. So because you also have to like understand it very before you can write anything about it. For example, now let's say I want to write about maybe Paystack just maybe released like a new feature now, maybe how to accept payments using different currencies now. So the first thing is that I have to understand what that product does first. What are like the capabilities, and then from there I have to like get in touch with dev team that, oh, how does this thing work? Let me go through like your API. Let me see what are the things like, what are the things that. So once you know all those things, are people going to need API keys before they can access these endpoints, or are they going to have to create an account, do these things? So you have to like understand all those things first. And once you now understand all those things, you have met with the developers and every other thing that you need to do, then you also understand, like, and you make sure that you already understand that thing very well, then you can now start writing. But if you don't really understand the whole thing, uh, you might not be able to really write about that thing very well. Like the documentation might not be complete. But if you want it to be like a very complete one that people will come to, and then after reading or going through it, they'll say, you have really done a very good job. So that is the first thing. So you have to research about that product too. Then make sure you know and you understand it very well before you now start writing about it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, any other question? Any other question from anyone?
I don't think anyone has another question now.
Okay. So if there are no questions, I will just leave it to uh, the moderator to just. So thank you all for joining. It's actually a pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining the call. Today has been an insightful one. We learned about technical writing, which is a lot actually. I hope people grab the thing or two from the call. I flash me 100 or something if you found the call as successful as I did. Oh, I'm not the common authority. Uh, okay now. Okay, calm. Okay, calm, calm. Yeah. So thank you, Abdulroheem, for the class. Thank you for it. Open sourceness left us earlier. It's not yet. Yeah, thank you guys for joining the call. Thank you for everything. Tomorrow we meet again. So yeah, we meet again same time tomorrow. Will be another fun part one. Definitely, it's going to be better than today, better than tomorrow. Yesterday's I'm going to see how to contribute as a writer. As usual, yeah. So thank you everybody for joining the call. I'll be dropping off now. I have to go somewhere.